Hey, what's up, everybody? How's it going? Huh?
Huh?
What's going on?
Not too much.
You guys ready to start the show?
Let's get it started.
We are live. We are on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, or X. Now is now what it's called. Okay, well, we'll start our introductions in. Since you're first on the roster here, Mr. Carbon, tell us who you are and what you're working on.
I'm Carbon. I'm like a 3D journalist, and right now I'm working on making a head sculpt of Sephiroth since I made Cloud last time.
Sephiroth. Can you show everybody the finished version of Cloud real quick?
Save this.
You have like a video or something?
I mean, I have to go on my actual. I can show you the model.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Open. We hide everything. Did it show on my screen or?
Yeah. It looks good. Looks good.
And then I'll show you the render version real quick.
Yeah, it came out real good, man. I think you've really improved on the eyes, but I think you said you were using that emissive technique.
Yeah, I didn't actually use it a whole lot on this. I just kind of make the actual eyeball closer so it doesn't cast a shadow as much.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so
I put it as close as I can to the actual eye, so that shadow is not as bad as it used to be.
So it won't ruin the illusion. Yeah, I see.
I've been playing around making like a different type of nose. I kind of like the way this nose came out.
And
then here's the solid view if you want to see the solid view.
Yeah, it's looking good, man. Looking good.
But yeah, so I'm making Sephiroth this time since I made Cloud.
Do you have any social media that you want people to follow or see?
I mean, I guess either my Instagram or my X. Do you want me to show that or something?
Yeah, pull them up. Now is the time for shameless self-promotion.
Well, let me
I know what the problem was last time I was having so many technical difficulties. The cord, the electrical cord for my computer was damaged. So it was running off my battery. It wasn't even like, plugged in basically. So I had to get a new one. So that's why it was like, I kept having so many like issues because it was basically trying to run all these programs I'm doing off the battery of the laptop. And it just wasn't working. So I bought one and I had to deliver that next day. What happened to I guess Demetrius dropped off. Must be having technical difficulties himself. Carbon, you still there?
I'm still here.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh, hopefully it's not me. Now we're episode 56. Yeah, there we go. There he is. What happened, Crooked Leg Monster?
Nah, I tried to expand it on screen and it was messing up, so I just got out.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, let me solo Carbon here again. So what are you gonna share your you can share your screen, right, Carbon?
I forgot about that. What do you want me to share?
Oh, I thought you were gonna show your social media.
I flipped through. Were you not showing me when I flipped through it?
Oh, okay, maybe I was doing something. Okay, so you did show it. Okay, my bad. All right, we'll move on to Crooked Leg Monster. Who are you? Tell everyone who you are and what you're working on.
I am the world's most powerful cripple. The dominator of worlds. They tremble at the sight of my wheelchair.
Stupid dude.
Um,
All right, what you working on, man?
I'm working on the same artwork from last couple weeks. Hopefully we'll be jumping on.
Damn, bro, you guys are struggling, bro.
Yeah, we are. But the good news is I'm planning on over the next week, since I'm finally going to be getting set to get my put back into all my glory. I'm gonna be taking pictures and getting ready to start matching up backgrounds for my artwork I do have finished. So I'll be getting geared up for the mishmash, the mashing of photos and animation or drawings.
You mean a comic? So you're back. Basically, what you're gonna do is the photo background is gonna, the photography is gonna act as the background for your comic book.
Yes.
Okay.
So who shot the Rowdy Rabbit effect, like I like to call it.
Okay. Alrighty. And last but not least, I'm still working on this. I did make some progress. I'm pretty much done with the clothing. There's a couple little details I got to do. But for the most part, it's done, and I can flesh out the other angles of her. And spring will be done. I can move on to some other stuff. I was going to do the other seasons, but I don't really need them, so I'll probably work on them sporadically. But I don't really need them for this first little short animated part that I'm working on. So once spring is done, I'll get started on the production of some other artwork for the animated short. I did want to show you guys this. I bought this
sword.
Yeah, it's a sword, but it's a practice sword. So it's plastic. It's like solid plastic. You know what I'm talking about? Remember those plastic ones we used to buy from the flea market?
Yeah.
They had the white blades and they were like super flimsy. So you play with them after a while, then they would bend and you couldn't have fun with them anymore. Imagine if we had these things. But I've been swinging this thing around, man, just for kind of practicing or whatever. It's pretty cool. And then, it has some weight to it. It even has a little string thing on it that you can untie and so you can wear it on your back and stuff. I got 2 of them actually, but it's pretty fun. But yeah, so yeah, I'm getting close to being finished with this. There's a couple of design things I want to mess with more for spring before I truly wrap this up, because once I get this angle of her clothing done and kind of mapped out and designed, the other angles shouldn't take long, because I have all the colors mapped out, or I have the basic designs mapped out or whatever. But yeah, but I'm getting close to being done. The cool thing is after this, really, it's for the animated short. The main things I got to work on is the main animated part, which is her being born, and some background art, because the music is there. I do got to work on some designs for some creatures in the beginning, but that shouldn't be too hard because they're not moving. So I just got to draw them one time. But yeah, so I'm getting close. But goal is to finish this up this month. Next month, start on the next phase of the animation or whatever. But yeah.
Before we get too much further into the show, I just want everybody's opinion. I changed the glove up.
Hold on, let me put you back on solo. There we go.
I changed the glove up from the Infinity Gauntlet looking thing to some knuckle dusters. So because sometimes the best plan is to punch somebody in the face. So
I like the Lion's belt. Can you kind of like, yeah, there you go. Yeah, so we can kind of see it. Yeah. But all right, without further ado, we're going to get started. The first thing we're going to talk about, and I don't think there's a trailer out yet for this. So the first thing we're going to talk about is Mortal Kombat 2, which was announced a week ago.
It was
That the
announced a long time ago, but
second movie was coming out.
it was announced a while back. It was announced almost immediately after the first one.
Oh, okay. Well, this is what I mean by announced is that
the
they have actual it's footage and they're ready to release it, I guess.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the first one before we get into the second one. Good.
Have you seen the first one? I actually haven't seen it. I just didn't. It didn't really.
The only thing the main character was no character that's ever been in the game. He was the descendant of Scorpion, and like Liu Kang is usually the main character of the Mortal Kombat series, and he was not. He was a side character, which I don't understand. Even though we do know the story of Mortal Kombat, but the familiarity with some of the characters was there, but for them to deviate so far from the story, it did nothing for me.
I didn't watch the first movie. It just didn't interest me. It didn't look that good to me. I've heard bad things about it actually. But as far as the new movie that they're working on, when I saw Carl Urban, I was like, well, who is he playing? And then
Johnny Cage.
Yeah, when they said it was Johnny Cage, I was like, he's kind of old, isn't he? Like has he kind of like aged out of that part? Like I always imagine Johnny Cage like a young Van Damme, as far as like how he looks. You know what I'm saying? Like late 20s, early 30s Van Damme, not Carl Urban's got to be in his 50s, right?
Yeah.
He's got to be in his 50s. Yeah. I mean, look at this. Look, I was zooming in. Look. You can even see the wrinkles in his hand. And look, I love Carl Urban. I think he's a great actor. I love seeing him in movies. I think I liked him ever since I saw him in Lord of the Rings. I liked him in the Riddick movies. Almost every movie I've seen him in, I've liked him. But I just unless the story is going to be written to where he's like an aged action star who became a martial artist or whatever, you know what I'm saying, or something like that. I don't know, but I don't know. It just doesn't. I don't know. He just in our show before we talked about the art of casting and how it's kind of lost these days. And I know he's a big name, he's a big draw, so maybe that's part of the reason why they casted him. But I mean, he's too old. He doesn't look right for the part. I
mean, he's been right for. You're right. There's like all his movies up to this point, he's been right for, because I think was the perfect Judge Dredd, and I still cast him a younger version of him for Batman. But
I don't see that. I've heard people say he should play Batman. I don't see that. I just don't see it.
I just still say Dredd because the way he
Dredd I can see, but Batman, well, I don't get that. I don't see that one.
But I think he's still.
You're not the only one who said it. I've heard other people say that too.
Well, we'll see, man. I mean, I'll say this: like he was at least he'll be entertaining. Because, like I said, I've never seen a role that Carl Urban's in. And I'm like, man, this movie sucked. And Carl Urban was.
He was in a vampire movie I didn't really care for.
What was that movie?
Priest.
Legion or Priest? Yeah, with Bellamy. What's his name? He played Vision.
You played Vision. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like that movie. I didn't think that was all that good. I mean, he's good, but I just didn't like the movie. Overall, it was like more flash than substance. Yeah. And Legion was a good movie, by the way.
It was a good movie. So, but we'll see. I like the guy who plays Jax. He was very good in that first movie.
He kind of reminds me of John Jones.
No,
like his look.
Not really. No.
Yeah.
John.
You don't think he looks like John Jones?
No. He looked like he should be. He looked like he should be selling ribs.
Who?
He looked like he should be selling ribs. Oh, this is my special. This is my special sauce.
All right. So what's the actor's name?
Oh, for
that's playing him?
Jax.
No. Yeah.
The first guy.
McCad Brooks. Michael Jackson. Yeah, Michael White. He played in them. He played Michael. He played Jackson like it was like a little short, wasn't it?
Short. Yeah.
All right, so this is this guy.
He looks old.
Mikad Brooks.
But he's only 44, so.
Huh? Oh,
only
thank
40.
you. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. All right, so there's
like Summer Leaves.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They didn't have pecans.
That's not what I was talking about, but I am fine with that. Thank you, Uncle Dave.
They didn't have pecan rolls.
Yeah, they had they're on, well, it doesn't matter. Thank you. But if you look at what's this guy's name? McCad Brooks. And then look at John Jones. Very similar. Very similar look. I'm sorry. Matter of fact, if they made a John Jones movie, he could definitely play like the version of John Jones now that he's older.
Yeah,
it's funny. John Jones be beating up people with that beer gut now. He beating up people with that beer gut. They say he'd be cheating, could be poking people in the eye.
A fight, man.
That's against the rules. All righty. Mr. Carver, you have anything to say about Mortal Kombat 2?
Not really.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I guess for me, it's, I don't know, Mortal Kombat lost its luster when I was like in middle school. Like after I watched the movie or played the game a couple of times, it's just, it's almost like we really need a remake of it. That's why I didn't even bother watching the first one. I just didn't care. Yeah. This really is a show for Mr. King. Yeah, I know.
He'll be all over this. Like,
Yeah.
Hey, what are we looking at?
Yeah. But the thing that intrigued me was the casting of Carl Urban as Johnny Cage, because it's just to me it's just bad casting.
Look how old. Let's look at. I don't even know exactly how old he is. How old is he?
He's got to be in his 50s. Carl Urban, because you got to think if he was in his
30s,
early to late 20s, and with Lord of the Rings, and that was more than 20 years ago. He could be in his 40s too. How old is Carl? Yeah, he's 52 because he was born in 72.
Man, well, I still like him, man. So
yeah, I like him. I like him as an actor. He's using a lot of fun movies too. But I still see him as Johnny Cage. I still don't see it.
Yeah,
maybe maybe like a younger version of him, like when he was like in his 30s or something like that, or his late 20s. But I just don't see it. I don't see it. All right, let's move on. I think we've exhausted this topic. To me, it's really not that interesting, but I know you said you wanted to talk about it. The only really interesting to me was Carl Urban's.
Yeah, I'll tell you the truth. I was on that too.
Yeah. Okay, so the next subject is I wanted to watch a trailer for a game called Silent Hill F, and then we'll discuss it afterwards. Here we go. Can you guys hear this?
Let me look at this thing.
Chuku, 嘘ついてるよね。騙せてると思う？なんだよ。ひなこはお友達といつだい？お友達は永遠じゃないのよ。彼らだっていつか必ずあなたを裏切る。あなたが裏切り者と呼ばれたように。ひなこ？あ、ごめん。何？天秤にかける価値があるかどうか、しっかりと判断しなさい。 ひなこ、いつまでここにいる気なの？
自分でもおかしいと思うの。自分で自分がわからない感じ。自分の気持ちが自分で理解できない。私かお前の夢の中ってことはないよな。
ひなこ、もう時間がないのよ。あなたが生かされたということは、ここにあなたがそれに悩める時間もう尽きかけている。
あなたは誰なの？さっきからなんで何もわからないふりをしているの？私はね、あんたをすぐに殺すこともできたんだよ。全部奪ったな。全部私から奪ったな。
All right.
それではお別れを。あなたが幸せをつかんでくれることを願っています。
Ew. Okay, what you guys think of that?
Yeah, definitely looks interesting.
Now, from what I can remember, the original Silent Hill is the one. It was the one about the town that had like it was like constantly burning or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or am I thinking of a different game?
It's
You're thinking of the right game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I remember when I saw this, I was like, that's what it made me think of. I was like, I wonder how they're going to implement that. But I guess this is a totally different lore. One thing that I think is interesting about this is that they made the characters actually look Japanese rather than like anime characters. So that's like a realistic. I would say it looks good. It's a good looking game.
Silent Hill has always been more realistic. It's more the more realistic horror games because I'm like, yeah, it's always been that kind of style ever since back in the olden days, and I think it was on PS1. It took more realistic approach.
You're the game meister, Carbon. So tell us more about what you think about this.
It definitely seems like it's gonna be an interesting game. Definitely taking place in a different time period. Kind of most of the time you're like inside of like a mansion. I don't like it's still be kind of like an old time period mansion. Most time it takes place in mansions. Most of the time. And I mean, I've never personally played Silent Hill, but I watch people play it. It's definitely one of the more scary horror games you can play, even in the modern day. Because got to a point. I know obviously going off top a little bit, but it's like people ever since 2016, people kind of said horror's been like kidified. But I'm like, with games like Silent Hill, you can't really say that,
Like kidified, like they make it too jokey.
No, it's like the characters are more stylized and they make stylized horror games. And people are like, like 5 Nights at Freddy's. Remember we saw that post in movies like, what the world is 5 Nights at Freddy's? That's technically a horror thing,
Well, and he could be referring to how Resident Evil has gone off the wall until they had to like get a reality check out of Resident Evil 6 because Resident Evil 6 was like just bananas. You're like, what was it? Or Carbon, was it Resident Evil 4 where he was punching a boulder? No, it was Resident Evil 5. He was like, the main character was punching a boulder up a hill. I'm like, okay,
You said
How
he
the
was
hell is
punching a
A
boulder.
That's
boulder.
not what I'm
A
referring to. It's just like horror games have changed in general. Like the more popular horror games are like super stylized, right? And some people can't take that seriously, so they'll be like, "Oh, now they kidified it," you know.
Oh, I see. I see what you're
In
saying.
comparison to there was a time and period where horror games they all look realistic, right? Until about 2016, there was a big shift between what defined a horror game, because up to that point it was usually more on the realistic side. What would be considered a horror game? It had to be somewhat realistic, and its depiction, right? Where the characters look somewhat realistic, the blood and everything's realistic, the monsters look like they could exist in the real world, stuff like that.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, this one definitely looks realistic. That is for
Yeah, I'm like,
sure.
it definitely does. Yeah, it definitely
But
looks.
I guess when I think of like, what's that one game you were talking about, Friday Night with Freddy's?
Yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's. Yeah.
It seems like that's something that's created more for younger audiences, though, so it probably wouldn't have as much of a.
I mean, yeah, but it has still a big adult following when it comes to kind of games.
When I saw it, I just didn't get it. Like, I didn't get it. Like, what exactly is the gameplay?
I mean, you're supposed to look at security cameras and make sure the animatronics don't get to you. I mean, it's something I exactly grew up with, so I mean, that might be kind of reason why some adults are into it. But it's like,
I mean, Nicholas,
You didn't really explain it. They're supposed to look at the security cameras and do what?
you stop you like lock all the doors and stop because what they'll try to do is they'll try to kill you, right? Because at night they don't want humans around them, so they'll try to come kill you. They'll try to run up into the security room. You're a security officer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can lock off different doors and whatnot, and I just try to run to you, try to lock off different doors. They'll try to juke around that door, and you have to lock off certain areas. So they just run back, because eventually they have to go back to their original area where they were standing at.
So was it like a runaway AI type of thing?
No, there's like little like souls in the suit. Like, I mean, a little bit of a rundown of the story. There was like he's not necessarily crazy, but I mean, he kind of killed kids and then stuffed them in the suits. Like, it was I mean, the lore of the story is pretty crazy,
Yeah, maybe this wasn't for kids. Maybe you guys should have been.
I mean, it's the thing is these stories aren't meant for kids. It's just because it has more of a stylistic appearance that
the kids
there's
kind
a lot of
was
people
attracted
who
to
can't take. Is the people who grew up kind of on Resident Evil, right? When they look at Final Fantasy, like, what the world is this? How is this even competing? How is this more popular than my Silent Hill? That's kind of how they feel.
I see.
Because that for such a long time was just the dominant genre of horror. It was like it had to be somewhat realistic. You're gonna usually put in some dark, gritty, disgusting area. And
I think it's kind of like I don't mind. I don't mind something being stylistic so long as it fits whatever it is, mood or story you're trying to tell. I don't mind that at all. I don't get what the controversy is over that.
I mean, it's just how it's been. Like some of those people in that crowd would say ever since 2016, horror games have been ruined to some degree. I'm like, that's not true. There's still plenty of realistic horror games that come out. It's just they got to compete much more.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we'll move on unless there's something else you guys wanted to discuss about this.
I don't know a whole lot about Silent Hill, so I can't necessarily speak a lot on it. So, yeah.
Okay. So we'll move on to the next subject, and that is cheating in manga. I wanted to watch this video. It's about 8 minutes long. We don't have to watch the whole thing, but we'll watch. I got it sped up. We'll watch some of it, just because we're all artists, and I remember being younger, thinking, okay, if you did a bunch of tracing, or
hold on. You gotta back it up because y'all just like disappeared when after you said cheating. I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, we're gonna watch a video about manga artists cheating. Like, is it really cheating? When they're doing their art, because they're using like photos or
I mean, tracing is not cheating,
or whatever. But I thought it was a pretty good video because I think it gives younger artists a realistic portrayal of what the industry actually is, and that if you got a deadline, you got to make that deadline. So yeah, we'll watch it. I think I got it on. Here, let me see. Let me make sure I got it sped up here.
Thing messed up now.
Yeah, this thing is acting stupid. Why is it like doing the like I watched this thing already? Refresh it.
Once again, the chief is.
Yo, this is Uegar, and today I want to discuss the notion.
Yeah, me speed it up. I thought I saw Mr. Nvidia, but I think he jumped off.
He was in there and he left immediately.
Let's see, playback speed. We'll go to 1 point. We'll just do 2 times. Or is that too much? Let's say 1.75.
And I see many artists have saying that the use of 3D/reference is cheating in your art. Growing up, I used to honestly think that too. So let me paint you a picture. You're a kid and you just got home from school. So you rush upstairs and unload your things and you see the manga that you borrowed from the school library. So you start flipping through it and reading it, and then you see all these awesome panels. You get inspired and you start working on your own things. You start drawing. Later throughout the years, you actually have your own manga collection now and you're still feeling inspired and you're constantly working at your craft. You go back and you start flipping through your manga that you need to finish, and then
And before I continue, I'll just say the video we're reacting to is called Cheating in Manga by a YouTuber called Uega Art. UEGA Art. So definitely check out the
I mean, it's definitely not cheating.
You start to realize, like, man, how am I supposed to get this good? Like, legit, I've been doing this for years now, and I'm nowhere even close to this. This guy is really doing this all by himself. So now you start feeling the pressure. You're like, dang, how am I supposed to do this? And then you do what all your heroes would do. Give up. All right, everybody, it's just a joke. I'm just joking. Sort. I think that these people legit were by themselves doing this all on their own, taking no shortcuts. And boy, was I wrong. I had this completely false and honestly impossible standard because I was disillusioned by what I thought was going on. Growing up, I used to think that using 3D models was bad, not knowing that manga artists use 3D all of the time. One Punch Man uses 3D models, JJK, Chainsaw Man, and legit name it any webtoon, and they all use 3D. There's a picture that came out of Reggae Akutami's process of his storyboards and stuff like that, and it showed that he had 3D models in every one of his like storyboards of the humans, and that he would draw over it. So we literally have Reggae Akutami drawing over his 3D models on his storyboards. That is so crazy. Then there's Hayora Oku that uses 3D models for everything. He uses it for the backgrounds, the humans, the props, anything that you can think of. It's solely 3D, and he's the creator of Gantz and Inuyashiki. And some of the level of art that this guy obtains because of the use of 3D is astonishing.
Yeah, I remember when I first watched the anime Gantz, and then I looked up who the manga artist, the original manga was, and who the artist was. And then when I read that, most of it was like 3D, I was shocked. I was like, oh wow, I did not know that. You know what I'm saying? But it just shows you how far the technology has come to where you can pretty much do a whole manga in 3D. I mean, you still have to do some things to make it so that it just doesn't look like a 3D model. Make it look good. So there's a talent in that too.
Then there's people that use actual photos like Inyo Asano. Inyo Asano is known for his legendary use of turning pictures into manga panels. And see, growing up, not knowing these things, I think that these people are just cracked out the ass with doing stuff like this. And then you grow up and you start to actually realize these people's process and knowing that it isn't just kind of one-sided like we thought it was. It wasn't like, okay, I'm going to do this like all by myself and do this, traditionally and do this way and that way. And we all had pre-notions of what we thought was actually going on. Lo and behold, we literally have people tracing and turning photos into actual manga panels, and then people using 3D for not only backgrounds but humans and props too. And I actually thought all of this was cheating growing up. I didn't know that people were doing this. So growing up, not knowing the process of how these things are actually done and the amount of shortcuts that people take to do all this stuff, like I just thought these people were just drawing their absolute heart out. And so I used to think that, oh my gosh, if I use 3D or if I use this, then I'm cheating. And then you go into this knowing that everybody uses this, and you're just stupid because even these people that do that recommend doing these sort of things to get around these corners. So my thing is that using shortcuts is not always a bad thing. Now I would still try to learn all these fundamentals and go as far as you can without using any of these things. But if you're just using it to get things done in a shortcut, it's not always a bad thing. And if anything, it is a tool to enhance your art. So if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I can't do this, then dude, use the tools at your disposal. They're there for that. You know what I'm saying? They're there to help you. They're tools. That's why Clip Studio Paint will literally have all this stuff, Clip Studio assets, where you can download a bunch of these things. There's so many different avenues that you can take. And, like if animation can use 3D, I don't know why manga can't use 3D. And coming to this realization was really just an eye opener. And I don't know how many other people genuinely felt this growing up. I mean, it could be just me. I've heard a little bit of stuff here and there. So I don't know what kind of that is, but I'm just saying that if you did have that mindset, rest your soul, because I'm telling you, these things are tools to help, and you can go a long way with this. I saw this video on YouTube of the process of Shinichi Sakamoto, the creator of Climber. And this dude literally has so many assets where he can just take a bunch of different hairstyles and plop it onto a character. Take a bunch of flows from different angles and just pop it on there. This dude is living his manga life on.
You see that shit? You see that?
So scare on there with just one click. That is
Yeah, like I guess I don't know. He just drew so many assets and he just boom bam. And it's like, but or I don't like. How did he generate the assets? Did he draw all the assets himself?
He drew a hair at like every angle to do that. Like.
Yes, to say like the time it would take to do it at every angle. It's like, damn, you could have just drawn it. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I'm thinking maybe he, what he did was maybe he used AI in some way. I don't know. I'm because I'm trying to think.
AI could definitely do no. AI could definitely. You can. I'm about to say.
Yeah, but if he's but it depends on how long he's been doing this. Because if he's been doing it for years, then this was before AI came out. So you see what I'm saying? So I'm trying to figure out what exactly how he got it, or does he have certain hairs only for certain close-ups and certain angles, and then he uses those angles a lot. So that could be it too. Where if that's the case, then it wouldn't be that hard to kind of like draw.
I mean, he
different
draws for the
variations
draws,
of
so he
it.
probably draws a lot, man. Probably easy for him to draw those angles anyway.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Easy
people
mode.
in
Now,
the
I'm not
industry,
saying
they
the
can
artwork
knock out
isn't
stuff
like
like
super
that
detailed because it
quick.
is, and there's a lot of work that is being put into it. But the amount of shortcuts that this man takes is more than one would think. Dude literally has a whole file of different hairs at different angles, so he can just plop it onto it instead of having to constantly redraw. Same thing with outfits. Same thing with windows and doors. The amount of assets that this dude has and uses at his disposal is crazy. So a lot of the times, this man is just plopping stuff into manga panels instead of actually just.
That's the other thing too. Like, say he draws a few different hairstyles at kind of like the profile, the front, the back, and a couple angle views. Well, if he draws a character at a slightly different angle, he could always use a transform tool to kind of like, make the hair look like it's at that angle. So he could be doing something like that too.
Redrawing a bunch of stuff. So that is also super crazy. And I will definitely start doing that because I think that is so awesome. But anyways. The last thing I want to touch upon is assistance. Growing up, I legit thought these people were doing it by themselves, and I did not know that. Like, even with comic books, I thought like Jim Lee was doing his comic book all by himself, like not knowing that there's literally a position for every spot, every part of the process. There is a position. It's like an assembly line. There's a person who sketches it. There's a different person that inks it. There's a different person that tones it, colors it, letters it. Literally every part that you can think of in the process of making a comic book or manga, there is a specific person for that, and that blows my mind. Like, I legit thought that these people were doing it all by themselves, and here, little did I know that there's a person for every spot of it, and stuff that we have to think about. So when you're going hard in the paint and you're not meeting the requirements, now you need to make reasonable goals. I'm telling you, if you have this unrealistic mindset of how things are going to get done, just realize that there's people out there that have whole teams to get this done. Now, granted, some of these people are also doing stuff within a singular week, and also these people are doing it in a month, so they kind of need that, obviously. But I'm just saying they still have help nonetheless. Now, I don't want to diminish the what they're going through, but just realize that, dude, what you're doing is usually a group project, so keep that in mind. But I just wanted to talk about all of this because I wanted to talk about like the curtain, unveiling the curtain of what I thought making manga and comics was actually really all about, not knowing the shortcuts. So if any of y'all didn't know about these shortcuts, that's all that I'm here to talk about. I don't disagree or anything with any of the things that these people do, and I use 3D sometimes, and I use photos sometimes, and I also I'm working with my partner Levin, so I kind of check off all these boxes of everything I'm talking about. So I just want to be clear that if you're struggling and you have this like mindset of like, oh, I don't want to do this because I consider it like cheating, or it's not, bro. It's not. And if you're not doing it, literally everybody else in the industry will, and you'll just fall behind. Like, you're gonna need these tools to either help you or meet deadlines. So be sure to actually use this. Go out and try to learn some of these things, so you can keep up or just be able to compete at a certain level. That'll be the end of this video. Be sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter if you want to see any of the drawings that I do in these videos and more on my Instagram channel. Be sure to comment down below.
All right, so shout out to Uega Art. I thought that was a good video. Just kind of, especially for young artists, like just to show you, look, be realistic about what it is you're trying to do, and don't think that everyone's doing this by themselves. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it comes to manga and animation and stuff like that. But it's interesting because, well, could you use this same attitude towards AI? Because I know a lot of artists are pushing back against AI, myself included. When it comes to art generation,
it's a little bit of a thing.
You said a what?
A 3D model. I mean, you can buy a 3D model, and you own the asset and you bought it. But AI, even with some of the legal laws now, you technically don't even own it, technically. Let alone you don't know where it's getting the source from. You didn't technically pay.
Well, what I'm saying though is,
what
I'm saying it was using AI to speed up your process. Like, for instance, let's say you use AI to generate a bunch of hairstyles like Homeboy did. You know what I'm saying? And you still have to kind of like go in and clean it up. You still have some work you got to put into it, right?
So why would you even tell it's AI? Like, why would you tell people that? It's like, I do this myself. Like, why would you say that?
No, what I'm saying is, let's say you did something similar to what the one guy was doing in the video, where you wanted to create various angles of a hairstyle so that you could just plop it on your character whenever you're finished. The point is, whatever the AI creates isn't going to be exactly what you want. So you still have to go in and you got to clean it up and edit it. So there's still some work involved. It's just saving a lot more time than having to draw everything from scratch. Is the point I'm trying to make. Well, like, could you use that same argument as for AI, or would what's homegirl's name? Who's the Asian chick? We should be calling out the artists when they be found out.
I know exactly what you're talking about, bro. You talking about one? That's her whole channel.
She be cracking me up too, boy.
Yeah, her name's Kate in chat. Kate in chat.
Kate in chat.
Yeah, it's Kate in chat. That's her new name.
Let's look her up real.
That is her whole channel, bro.
You said Kate in chat.
You live on that channel, bro. Your whole career is gone.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. She is the career ruiner of artists, bro. Like, you thought you were like being sneaky and lying, bro, and then she makes a video.
Are you sure it's her name? What's her name? Oh, Kate's chat. You said Kate's chat?
No, Kate, it's like an actual N. Like,
she said,
It should be like in. Let
Are
me
you
see if I
saying
can find it
in?
real quick.
Are you saying in or and?
It's like an actual in. Like
In?
yeah. See, I just I'm gonna send a streaking link to you, right? Hold up.
Please send it on the comments and not on Discord because I'm not on Discord.
I just sent it, man. Look in the private chat.
Okay, yeah, because if you end up on her,
Yeah, your career is over. Like they had basically people have to delete their account after that, bro. It's like I know she doesn't
Yeah.
endorse like people just harassing, but
DIY.
I mean, if
Damn.
you already
And
see
there's
that
DIY.
channel and
Damn.
you end up on her channel, those artists are gonna like dox you and harass you. I'm sorry, it's just gonna happen. Like, it's not her fault. She doesn't endorse that, but the people watching that, they most definitely will. I'm sorry, like the viewers are always crazy when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Are you sure you sent me the right?
I sent you the right link. What do you mean?
Get him.
For some reason,
Do you even sit on Discord too, man?
Get him.
oh yeah, I see. No, I see it. I got it.
Dang, man.
Yeah, you end up on her channel. Like this is the one I watched before is Ross.
Oh yeah, Ross
on
in a lot of heat right now too.
Yeah,
And that man was popular, bro. Look, that man was popular. Now he's losing everything.
so social media, like the artists, like digital artists and traditional art, they're really calling out the AI art. AI, if you're using AI in your art, you're gonna get called out. You're gonna get called out. But I think there's a sort of balance, right? Because I think the AI tools could be used similarly to how you would use 3D or textures, or
Still not ethically
photos.
sourced though.
Yeah, huh?
It's still not ethically sourced. That would still be artists' main problem, right? You don't know
That's
where
true.
the resources are coming from, right? If it was safe
Yeah.
artists, okay, what needs to happen is right. We need to get a bunch of artists, right? We pay them and they put all their assets into this AI generator so that it's legally sourced, and there's no problem after that point, right?
Yeah.
Or it's either there's an artist who has so much work, they make their own AI generator and they consent to it, and they're like, okay, here's my AI generator based on my art, and I consent to it. Like, if that happens, then no artists are going to complain because it's like legally and ethically sourced, right? That's the main argument that artists have is you're just getting out of nowhere. You didn't pay the original creator for their art just to get stolen and put in there,
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a good point. I think that's a good point. I was just the way I was looking at it was damn.
Like it can definitely work the method you have. It's just it has to be ethical. Once it's ethical, there'd be no artist getting mad because it's like for example, if I bought a 3D hair pack and I put it on my character, at that point you can't get mad at me because I bought the hair pack. It's kind of the same thing, right? If you own the legal rights to it, people don't care. You bought a license to it. When you use AI, it didn't buy a license, let alone the artists who got their artwork stolen might not even consider that, They might not want their art in that generator, and somehow you got their art in that.
But I think there's a point though where if you take something and you change it enough, to where even if it's not ethically sourced, however you want to put it, like let's say you took a famous photograph and you cut it up and you rearranged it and you added some color or whatever and you made a totally different piece of art, even though you took the basic elements of something before, you've broken it up and made it into something different. I think that's protected.
Yeah, it's like music. Yeah, it's like music where people take samples.
Yeah, well, no, it depends on how the sample is cut. Because if you take whole parts where it's clearly okay, this is clearly from this, then I don't think that's protected. You got to pay up. But if you take something, you change the tone of it, and it's just one, and it's only like 3 seconds or something like that, then yeah, I don't think you could. I think that's because you've changed it enough, and you've taken a small enough piece to where it's not even recognizable as the original thing anymore. So I think there's some room in there, but I see what you're saying. But the way that AI gathered up its sources, isn't.
And then the biggest problem is at least the artists that can do it, they don't change it up enough to the point you can't tell it's not AI. It would be one thing. Like if I change it enough, you can't tell it's AI. That's one thing, right? Most times artists don't go through. They take the AI thing and they don't change it up enough So that's how they still getting canceled anyway. Some people are doing the same thing you're saying right now. They'll let AI generate it, and they'll be like, I'll go clean it up, or I'll use my own image at first, and then let AI generate the rest. You know, but it's like they don't go through afterwards and fix the AI's mistakes. You know, if they went through afterwards and fixed the stuff, at the point you couldn't tell it's AI, you know, then this still wouldn't be an argument because you wouldn't know. You know, as long as somebody knows and can see it's AI, you're still gonna get that issue. You know.
You know, I notice most times I can tell if the image was created with AI. I will say the anime images, depending on how much detail, like if it's like super detailed, like painted type anime, I can usually tell. But if it's more of the cell shaded type anime, those ones are getting pretty good to the point where it was very hard to tell. Yeah. Especially if they know what they're doing on how to manipulate the prompts, and they can go in and fine tune it, make the hands look right, and get all the anomalies out. But that takes time. I was messing with it maybe about a week ago. You know, the time it takes to get exactly what you want from the AI, you know, it's still faster than having to do everything from scratch. But you know, it's
Yeah,
still,
for sure. That's why people like AI.
yeah,
Because I mean, drawing can take a lot of time.
yeah, you still got to.
Even as a 3D art, man, actually
Yeah.
doing 3D takes longer than drawings with the stuff you guys be drawing. You know, I could have more versatility, but it's like art in general takes a long time. That's why people are tempted by AI in the first place. You know, because I mean, especially for beginner people, and it's like it's kind of hard to see your growth or any kind of result at the beginning. You know, you just want to see something good. You didn't start drawing to see the little trash you're going to make at the beginning. Nobody wants to see that. I mean, I'm being honest here. Like when you first start, you have these big goals and dreams and aspiration. But when we first start, most people can't do that. Like they just don't have the ability to do that. You know.
All
So
right,
they use
let's,
AI to
Hold on.
help
All
get
right.
something.
All right. So
yeah, I
this is
want
what
to.
I
Yeah,
haven't said it.
yeah, go
I haven't
ahead. Go
said
ahead.
it before.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. So what Carbon just said? You don't want to see the trash from the beginning, but the trash at the beginning builds into the masterpiece at the end. None of us was as good as we are at the beginning. Like when I first met G Flux, man, I was trash. I was terrible. And then you like when you see somebody who inspires you, like, man, you did that by just sitting there and doing it, and somebody to motivate you and get you to the place where you want to be or build to the place you want to be. Now, I'm not a total opponent to AI. I do believe it's a tool, but when you're taking credit for something you didn't do, this is sucks. That means you have no creativity. You just telling something algorithm to make make your art, and that's not art. That's just watching TV basically. This is entertainment. It's but I will agree with Carbon. It is a tool. I do believe that there should be a healthy medium and between, like, if you put your sources in a basket and then do it as you will, that's one thing. But even for my book I'm working on, I'm going to be using photos and everything to do my backgrounds, but it's still
it's gonna be photos you take though.
I take exactly.
Yeah, it'll belong to you.
It's not something that I'm just coming up with. Like type in the computer.
And there's precedent for this because I remember as a kid thinking, man, when I saw like a Norman Rockwell painting. Let's look him up real quick. Norman Rockwell. And thinking, man, this guy is so good. Like, in his like form and everything was just like, man, like, how does he do that? Like, how does he get the proportions so perfect? And then you find out he traces. he traces a lot. Now he stylizes it.
Perfection is sometimes what you have to do.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not knocking his skill and his ability, because he definitely stylizes his work. Like, he does take it beyond tracing for sure. And then you can't deny his skill as a painter. But that's what he employed. And the great masters from the Renaissance age employed the same thing.
Well, even in the same vein, Alex Ross takes photos. He took photos and then
A lot of photo references, yeah.
But once again, like you said, even with my artwork, they belong to him. Those are photos that he took or he sourced to make his artwork. When you're just letting a program build your artwork from the bottom up, there's no passion. There's no love put into it. It's basically fast food. To make another reference, it's cookie cutter. I won't talk about the company I worked for. Well, I went to back in the day, but one thing I absolutely hate about it, and G Flux, you know exactly what company I'm talking about.
Disney.
You said it, I didn't.
Man, you're not supposed to say that, man. You gotta get the whole channel shutting down now. You're talking about Disney in a bad light.
Oh,
Dang, bro. You know Catherine Kane needs all that money she can get now, man. Don't make her
oh,
Darth
oh,
You're right,
yeah.
I mean, that's what got the channel set up, man, to begin with, man.
Darth
Mhm.
Kennedy.
But yeah, like one thing, at first, I actually liked what they were doing when I was there, when training their artists. Basically, they had to draw the same image over and over and over again. It's basically training you to do some to make it second nature to draw whatever character you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But when you can just point and click nowadays to make an image, like what am I here for? What use am I when you can just do everything like it's second nature?
Well, a lot of people say that the AI is going to take over, the visual arts and cinema. I don't see that. Like, I'm sorry. There are certain things I think the AI is good for when it comes to art generation that you could probably use it in certain ways. But from what I've seen, even for the AI videos that are being created, it's nowhere near being able to you could make a whole film that rivals something that you do now with all the elements that go into making it. You could probably make something, don't get me wrong, but it's going to look funky. You know what I'm saying? It'll look cool, but it's going to look funky. It's not going to look like no one's definitely going to want to watch 2 hours, like a 2-hour film, maybe like a little short film, like experimental or something like that. And I have still yet to see anyone do an AI comic where there's like action and different complex angles. I've seen comics where you got a headshot and some straightforward shots and stuff like that, but nothing really complicated, nothing really that's mind blowing. It's more like, oh, look at this novelty. Oh, it's actually pretty good for it to be AI, but not good enough to say, hey, this is gonna be the next Kentaro Miura or whatever the guy's name is, or Akira Toriyama.
You will speak his name correctly.
I just haven't seen it. I have not seen it, and I'm not knocking what can be done with it. I'm just saying that there's much more variables and complexity that goes into creating.
And I will say,
I'm not finished. Either an animation, some kind of sequential art, and definitely live action movie. But yeah, go ahead, Demetrius.
And I am the biggest Kentaro Miura fan, and we all know this. But even till his before he passed, he just got into digital art, maybe his last 5-6 chapters, and he still working.
I saw his setup. I was so jealous because he has this huge Cintiq. I mean, that thing is huge. That thing got to be like $4,000 or $5,000. I was so fucking jealous. I was like, man, I want that. I want those so bad.
I want it. I want it. I gotta have it. But to answer the original question, I don't think it's not cheating. It is a tool and a useful tool. It would be cheating if you totally relied on it for every aspect of your artwork, and then you're taking claim for it like you actually did something when you just punched it in.
Yeah. I will say I don't think it's cheating either, but I will say that I think that I have a great admiration for people who can do it on the fly without a lot of extra tools to help. And there's some people out there that are like that. And even those people though sometimes use photo references. So but you know, I admire that ability, you know, and I try to do that, but you know, even I can't do that all the time. Even I got to look at references sometimes. You
Man,
know,
reference like
and
matter of fact.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead. You were saying.
I was gonna say when I get started on this comic, the Southern Shinobi comic, I'm definitely gonna be using 3D models to kind of map it out for sure, just to kind of hurry up and get it done. But yeah, go ahead.
Matter of fact, last week, like when I first put the glasses on my character, dude, I remember like I have a vague memory in my head of exactly how those shades were, but no, I had to use references. And if I had the technical skills to take it off Dwayne Wade's face and put it on my character, damn right I would do it. Save that time. Man, I'm gonna go make a sandwich. So it's like, but at the end of the day, use it as a tool, but don't use it as a crutch. That's
Yeah, you should still learn your fundamentals for sure.
and that's what my nephew he just got an iPad and he had his little pencil iPencil or whatever the hell it's called, and he came up to me and like, hey uncle, like look what I could do, and I'm like, okay, but where's your fundamentals? And he relied so much on tracing like images from the internet, and I'm like, that's not teaching you anything, man. That's just tracing.
No, it is. It is teaching. That's teaching. You can learn from that.
No. Well, no, he's not. He can't do it on his own. Basically, he can follow an outline, but he can't do it like
Yeah, but that's how you start. That's how you start, though. Is what I'm saying. I mean,
no,
eventually he wants to.
hold on. That's not how we started. I started off with the grid to draw a head. I started off with the box method to draw hands. I started off with simple shapes and shading and
Yeah, but
recognizing lights and darks.
Some people start with tracing though, and it's no problem with that, as long as he develops beyond that. Like I didn't start with tracing; I started with looking at the comic and then trying to draw it over on the other side. You know what I'm saying? Like I try to look at what I was
matching up.
And, yeah.
But when matter of fact, one of my first drawings, I would say what like my parents bought me and I always thank my parents for this, bought me a box of comics when I was like in second grade. And, I was so fascinated by the angles and everything. And I'm going to tell you, to this day, Todd McFarlane is up there in the GOAT column for me for the way he did Spider-Man. Because, when we were in the early 90s, McFarlane was the dude, was that man. And for when you not really interested in what the story is, because we weren't interested in the other stories, we were interested on the splash of color and the action that was pervaded through the images.
I was interested in the story. I've always been a story person. I love art. Don't get me wrong, but I'm always like, man, you can have the greatest art, but your story is trash. I'm sorry.
Well, no, that was Image's problem after McFarlane started that. But
I agree.
But after at the time, like, can you bring up some of McFarlane's work, Spider-Man work? Miss 2D's and McFarlane.
Spider-Man.
Like
this is a classic image right here.
Yeah, go down. It'll be the third row all the way on the right. Like,
describe what you want me to pick on here, huh?
The blue,
the
one with the blue background.
This one.
Yeah, I remember having that comic book, man, and I was like, man, this is an awesome picture, and things like that. He was the first one.
He was the first one to give Spider-Man big eyes, right?
Yeah,
I like
and the web
big eyes too.
in the webs like that, and he's the one that basically all the webs since that point have been the McFarlane webs.
Yeah.
And
I remember when if you listen to some of his interviews, he talks about art. He was like, when in doubt, black it out. so, so even people like him, he's like, I don't know every little thing about anatomy and all that stuff like that. It's like when I don't know, I black it out. No, that was funny.
and like you know, and I liked I really liked his image. And as much as I love Jim Lee, a lot of Jim Lee's images, now that I think about it, were stagnant. They're like standing pics.
Yeah.
Like can you bring up some of Jim Lee's X-Men work? Because that's what I remember Jim Lee for. Like Jim Lee is the X-Men man for me. And
I remember I had his X-Men 1 comic.
I mean, that first one, your first image right here, where they had it was like 4 comics where you had to put them all together to get the full image.
Yeah, I had that comic.
But look at it, right? Like they're all pretty much.
Yeah, there's no like serious action poses, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Let's look it up. Jim Lee action poses. Excuse me.
Look, they're still boxing.
Yeah, they're pretty stiff. Yeah, they're pretty stiff.
Like, but like
or they're not. I shouldn't say they're stiff. They're not very dynamic. Some of them are. Like some of the ones we was doing the foreshortening aren't bad.
But the thing about it is, like,
pinup artist.
If we look at, let's look up Dragon Ball. Let's look at some Akira Toriyama's sketches. All right, so even though they're standing still, right, for the most part, you can see these characters about to move, or they're going to have some type of movement coming towards them. Even though like the picture with Goku with the monkey in the left corner over here, it seems like the character can pop off the page, or there's some type of movement, especially the one with him and Momo on the bike right there.
On the bike, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I had an arts teacher in college who hated Toriyama. And I'm like,
why? Dude, art teacher, you just hate anime, bro. That's always been a thing, bro. Even I had to deal with that in college.
Toriyama was like a master of
notorious for hating anime.
Like, he hated Toriyama. Like, go back to that Bulma picture we were having.
That's action right there.
It's an American teacher thing, bro. I'm sorry. It's just an American teacher thing. Have you seen animated, man?
Yeah, on the bike. And I'll tell you exactly what he hated about it. The action lines.
And that's what made it so cool. It made it better than American comics, in my opinion.
Well, but the thing about it is this, right? It's not, even if the action lines weren't there, there are many things like our conveying movement. Like the way in this picture we're looking at right now, the way our hair is look like it's blowing black in a breeze.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I've always liked this color work too. Like this image right here.
That's like, one of the best.
Like with the markers. I look, he did it with like markers or something. Yeah. Yeah, Kiriyama, I loved his art, man. Like that new guy, I don't like his stuff.
We'll never have another Akira Toriyama. We'll never have another Norman Rockwell. We'll never have man. We were talking.
We can always have another one, bro. Somebody will take their place.
The hell you say? We were in the argument.
Always been somebody leaves a gap and somebody takes that gap over, dude.
We were in an argument about it last week. Who's the guy who does Conan's artwork?
Oh, Frank Frazetta.
Frank Frazetta. Like, there's imitation, but it's all flattery. It's no, wow, look at this.
Yeah, there's some guys who I think took his style to another level, but it's kind of like comparing, what's the rocker's name? it's kind of like comparing Jimi Hendrix to modern guitarists. It's like, okay, yeah, the modern guitarists maybe have taken it to another level, but he started it. It's like he's the foundation. It's like he's the originator. You know what I'm saying? So you just give him credit for that. It's like you're doing something totally different than what other people were doing at the time, and he's inspired all the modern guitarists. And I think it's something similar with Frank Frazetta. Akira Toriyama too. I mean, everyone mimics his style in some way these days, or not everyone, but a lot of people do.
I was in the discussion, and it was another Berserk discussion, and I was talking to this guy about like the best way I can describe Akira Kentaro Miura's artwork is heavy. Like because we were talking about the 2017 animation and how when he swung the Dragon Slayer, it sounded like a pots and pans every time he hit something.
Yeah.
And when and I'm gonna go give you credit for liking story so much because you're actually the one that made me one of my friends that made me appreciate a good story. But when it's first describing the Dragon Slayer, it when after that first description, and you see the images of him swinging the Dragon Slayer, and it's like it was. I can't remember the exact line, but it was heavy, it was far too thick to be called a sword. And when you see him swinging the sword, you're like, art to jump out at you and affect you, if that makes sense. Like the picture of Goku. I remember when that Sunday morning when I first saw this punch actually in motion, way before I saw this image.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I'm sorry, I love American comics. We see some shit like this, even in black and white. It's like most American comics are color, at least the popular ones anyway, are in color. But it's like just the dynamic nature of manga action, man. It's just you can't beat that shit, man.
And I don't care what you say. Not what you say, but what anybody says, right? But this image right here, right? And I could be wrong, but the 1960s Batman show with Adam West with the Biff Bam Pow. The manga artists were doing that on their images way before that. So if you tell me that they weren't influenced by Gigantor and the original Astro Boys when they, I would say so. It might be a stretch.
Because Batman and all that shit came out like in the 30s.
No, but they weren't doing the Biff Bam Pow back in the 40s when Batman first came out.
They weren't?
No. I don't believe
that don't sound right.
I don't know.
See, I was looking at history.
Batman images 1940.
What is that called? History. Oh yeah, I will say that. Batman images. Comics from 40s.
Like you see how like stagnant they look?
Yeah, it's like text heavy, or not text heavy, but we haven't seen any action yet either, though.
Action, but then we need to have action scenes.
I'm trying to see. What is that called? In comics, there's a word for it. Because it's not like just text bubbles. Like when did they start doing the pow and the bang and all that?
I don't know, but
it's about onomatopoeia.
Is that what it's called? Onomatopoeia?
Yeah, onomatopoeia. That's it. Yeah. Remember that freaking English class.
When did I don't know. Oh, there we go. Onomatopoeia.
Show up in comics.
Damn it.
But yeah, they use that to show actions that are actually showing action, I guess.
We can't go with images. We gotta go with.
Yeah, I click on it. No, that's the villain. When did onomatopoeia affect?
Begin. It's right there in
No, that was talking about the villain named Onomatopoeia.
Well, they say it's in the 30s and 40s, but
Yeah, I thought so. But that's AI. You can't always trust AI. It says onomatopoeia showed up a lot in comics, though they're most well known by their appearance in the Batman TV series from the 60s.
Biff Bam Pow.
But I mean, that's what it was inspired by the comics still. So it didn't start in the 60s. I think the AI is right. I think it started in the 30s and 40s. I think you could find like maybe not Batman comics. Let's see. Superman comics from 30s. Onomatopoeia. Let's see.
Man.
I do remember because I remember seeing them like they'll say something like zip, you know, like if they're moving fast or they did like a quick thing or something like that. Here we go. This looks old. Baroom. That's from see the comic book sound effects 1939 through 1985. So yeah, so if
I could be wrong.
Look right here, 1942. Boom, 1939. Sock. Batman socked this dude in the face. 1951. Baroom, something blows up. Amazing Fantasy, 1962. Whiz. Schnit. Yeah, I think yeah, you're wrong.
Hey, I could be wrong. I'm man enough to say I'm wrong.
Yeah, you're wrong. All right, let's move on to the next subject, which is Kayla, can you send me that video? I forgot to pull it up. The one about the black hair in 3D. I know it's in your Discord, but I don't have Discord up real quick. Because it's not that long of a video.
Yeah, I'm about to send it.
Let's talk about Sinners. Caleb just bringing that up. Oh, it's already up.
No, it's already. It's about to go right now.
Well, let's save that for the next show since I already got the link. All right, so here we go. All righty. Damn.
It has been a challenge. And as Theodore Kim, a professor of computer science at Yale, recently explained to the...
Okay. I will put this back on normal speed since it's only like a minute long. This thing's stop acting so stupid. Speed. Where's the speed?
He's struggling about that playback. Just put it on normal, man. Normal.
Animators have finally figured out black hair. Since the beginning of computer animation, portraying hair realistically has been a challenge. And as Theodore Kim, a professor of computer science at Yale, recently explained to The Guardian, to solve that problem, algorithms have been developed to create more believable depictions of hair. The only issue is there was no algorithm for type 4C hair, which features tightly wound curls. And so that's led to a lot of homogeny in animated black hair, or animators just avoiding Afro texture in general. But Kim and his co-author, AM Dark, have now developed a new algorithm for type 4C hair. It identifies three major characteristics of Afro textured hair: phase locking, period skipping, and switchback. As Kim explained to The Guardian, phase locking is when coily hair grows out as a helix. Period skipping describes when someone's hair leaps out of a curl pattern, adding the appearance of frizz around a curl. And switchback is when the direction of a curl changes, creating a kink. Dark is optimistic that these new tools will increase representation and the accurate portrayal of black hair in animation.
All right. So why did you want to discuss that, Carmen? I think it's interesting. I just wanted to know.
I mean, it's definitely a change. It's definitely a more realistic, like black looking hair that can actually have proper physics. Like I'm like, yeah, because trust me, I've played a lot of games with black hair, and most times they don't have proper physics. They're usually looking wrong. You know, it's gotten better over the years. But
yeah, I remember we were playing Star Citizen. They finally added the black hair.
It's always a last priority. Like, you know what a good video is about? Actually, I can find another. If you want to find a jokey video about it, This is dead on.
How long is it? I don't want to be.
I gotta hold on. Let me see. It's like 2 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, Cindy, we'll take a look at it.
Because this is a really honest video.
I know. I do notice like ever since Black Panther
Killmonger. Yeah. Everybody took his hair when they made that Black Panther movie, and that's been the only black hair in games ever since then. That's been the only hairstyle, bro. Is that Killmonger haircut, bro? It's a bit from RDT, but it definitely explains how it's like to have a black hairstyle in a customizable game. There'll be like no choices. I mean, it's got better with the years, but especially back in my younger days, bro, there were no option for black hair. You have 3 at best.
Alright. Get the customization. Wait, where's the...
Damn! Why does white man got all these hairstyles? I ain't never seen no white person got their hair before. They giving this nigga anime hairstyles? Hold on. Why is there only one option for the nigga, man? That don't make sense.
Bro, hell no, bro. No, hell no. I'm about to call somebody. Hell no. I'm about to call support or something. Hello?
You've reached Adventure Support.
Yeah, there's something going on. Like, the black person only has one hairstyle.
We can go ahead and patch that right on up for you, sir. Sorry for the inconvenience.
Oh, there is a mistake then, right?
Yes, sir. That's all on our end.
Okay. So right after the update, everything should be good?
Yes, sir. Everything should be good as new.
Okay. Appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
No, I'm going to try him right now. I'm going to look right now.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right. Bye. All right. It should be good now. That's an afro. Man, what the fuck? This roll bounce ass afro? Man, no, bro. No. Hell no.
Okay. The most unrealistic thing about this skit is there's nowhere you can call and talk to a goddamn human being anymore. Everything's a freaking AI chat box.
This video's 3 years old, man.
I know.
It was crazy.
Oh man.
I mean, but that's there's not a lot of black hairstyle choices. So if anything to make it easier for there to be more black hair, I consider that a benefit.
All right. We'll move on.
I can see that a point now where some VTubers, man, they want to, if you send them a character with like this dark skin, they'll be like, I ain't touching that, bro. I don't know how to do dark skin, bro.
Dark skin? Yeah. They don't know how to do dark skin?
Yes, that's a legitimate thing with some art. They won't ever touch. You send them a concept of a dark skin character, but I ain't touching that.
I'm good on that, homie.
The skin part should be easy. I could see the hair part, but the skin part should be easy.
It's both skin and hair.
All right.
I can say my first experience. Yeah, making black hair is harder than the other hair type. I even from my first experience, it definitely is.
All right. So the next thing we're going to move on to is the game called Slay the Princess. And I heard of this game. Matter of fact, I have it in my queue of games.
Dude, this game is good. It's a
have you been playing it? I haven't played
it.
Man,
it's been pretty fun so far. I really enjoyed it.
I have to check it out because I've heard a lot of things about it.
It's a good game, bro. I really hope it gets some awards. Did it come out this year or last year? I'm like, this game.
I remember seeing it last year.
Dang, it should have got some awards, but I'm not gonna lie, because it's like the story of this game is solid. It's a solid story. And I'll just say
on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin, and in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her.
Wait, what?
If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
Now hold on a second. Don't you listen to him? What did I ever do to you?
She will do everything in her power to stop you.
Well, yeah. I don't want to die.
She'll charm and she'll lie and she'll promise you the world, and if she has the chance, she will kill you 12 times over.
Is he even listening to me?
Don't forget, the fate of the world rests on your shoulders.
You're not actually going to try and slay me or anything, right? Because I wouldn't if I were you. If you try, I'll kill you as many times as it takes.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
You
I
got
like
the
it
game
too
boy?
because
That's actually a part of the game.
well, it's a point and click, not point and click, but it's an adventure game. So
It's a visual novel. I mean, yeah, it's a visual novel.
Yeah, so it's not like it's like
But you get to make a ton of different choices, and every choice you makes a different timeline, right? There's like timelines where you can actually work with her, and even depending the way you like kill her, right?
Yeah.
So because remember what she said, no matter how many times you try to kill her, she'll try to kill you or whatever. So what will happen is after you kill her, she'll start to warp into different versions, right? So it'll become more monstrous depending on the way you kill her, and depending on how you act, actually, personality wise, your character will act different over the course of time, right? If you're more coward, because she'll have some crazy forms later on, right? So eventually, if you just be a coward, eventually you just lose the choice to have any option because you've been a coward for the last couple rounds. So eventually, you just can't do nothing,
I like the art style. I like the fact that they left it black and white and the sketchy look.
Oh yeah, everything's all hand drawn. Yeah, it's everything's all hand drawn.
Which goes back to our previous two conversations. Like, man, hold on.
What, man?
Oh man, ain't nothing like.
I mean, it's possible they could use textures and stuff on it. So how many different avenues is there?
Dude, there's like at least 20 routes, and all 20 routes have like 5 variations because the thing is you get 3 different loops. Okay. So basically, you have the first initial loop, and then you have 3 loops that will kind of warp off the original path, right? So it's like she'll have different versions depending on how you kill her. If you work with her, you have different ways to kill her. Because you can listen to her too. You don't have to kill her, right? Or you be in the middle of killing her, and then she'll be like, "Oh, don't kill me," and then she'll will change her form or whatever, depending on how you act or interact with her. Because every route leads to her transforming into something different. Dude, that one with the mask is a crazy one. That one with the
how
mask,
long is the game?
I mean, there's definitely a lot of content, and I've played at least 5 hours, and I'm not like halfway through the game.
Okay.
There's a lot to explore in this game. There's a lot of different endings. And so, like I said, she has a lot of different forms. It really just depends on how you play, And the thing is, you got to remember, too, it's not just you and her. There's a narrator, too. The narrator is going to keep telling you what to do, right? And say if you want to side with the princess, right? Even the narrator eventually will start fighting against you because he's like, yo, this is not what you're supposed to do. You need to kill her. And you actually take control over you. You get to try to fight back against him. And as you die, your character starts to slowly mentally break, right? And like I said, depending on your actions, right, that'll actually decide the voice who you have. You can have other voices in your head. Because like I said, if you're being like a coward, right, you have the voice of coward. If you're a hero, you have the voice of heroes,
Yeah.
And sometimes those voices might betray you.
Like I said, I had it in.
So it's not.
I have it in my queue. I just never bought it.
It's you versus yourself too, depending on your choices.
Yeah.
That's the conversation we need to have. How the indie studios are really pushing gaming versus the major.
You want to make a video on that? I have so many indie games I could talk about. If we make a video on that, I have a ton of indie games I could talk about that's been succeeding recently.
For those who are on Facebook, I'm gonna put a poll up on my page. I'm starting a new art page. What should we talk about? I mean, we're here for y'all, not to inform y'all what we're doing and things like that. So, yeah, things that we're really interested in. Brian's a storyteller. I'm just a chaos causer. And Carbon is the gamer / 3D artist out of the crew. So, I love talking about. I used to be the game man. I remember one time we were going to Charlotte, and I was beating ass in Street Fighter like it was going out of style. You remember them days, G-Flux?
I remember you losing.
I never lost to you. I never lost to you.
I remember
John,
your ass.
You have never beat me in Street Fighter.
I have a supreme Cammy I remember destroying you.
You never did.
But I'll say that I think if we do I like the independent game thing, but I say we all play it though, and then we talk about it. We just dedicate a show to, maybe like one game a week or something like that, or one game every 2 weeks.
I mean, there's a ton of indie games. If you
One
were
game a month.
talking
That's
about
probably
indie games,
yeah, indie games, yeah.
dude, I was about to say, you want to talk about the successful ones or the failure ones? Because I know a lot about indie games. So you want to talk about successful indie games or ones that failed or something that's kind of in the middle?
We'll do them all. In fact, we'll let you be the decider, and then we'll.
Do you want to play multiplayer ones or single player ones? Because there's actually a lot we could play together too. They might be more on the jokey side, but they're doing really popular right now.
Yeah.
Hey, anything we can stream on the channel, man.
I mean, most indie games are pretty cheap too. So I mean, do you want to send like a list or something? Because there's a bunch of indie games right now that's popping off right now.
Yeah. Make a list.
Make a list, man.
Yeah. Okay.
Because.
And then I'll categorize it too, because I don't know if you want to. Because each week we could switch between different genres, if you want to do something like that.
Well, let's try to do, because the more I think about it, for time constraints, we're probably not going to be able to do a game a week, but we could do maybe like one game a month. I think that's probably better because that gives everyone time to play it.
Okay.
But yeah, I would say definitely try Slay the Princess. That's a good game, and like I said, the game will really cater around your decisions. Like I said, depending on how you act in that game, she will change to be more monstrous or less monstrous. And
you've been playing it as research for your own adventure game, right?
Yeah, I would say that's me personally. I would say that's one of my favorite visual novels because the story is really good, and like I said, the game really caters around your decisions. Like that, the way the game will kind of morph to kind of make your decisions like the main priority of the story is kind of cool, because there's not just one way to kill her. And like I said, she'll warp to become more monstrous depending on how you kill her. And like I said, the personality thing too. Like I said, depending on the personality of character you give him, he might fall in love with the princess, or he might be afraid of her, or he may hate her, which will affect the ending too.
All right. So you guys have anything else to say about Slay the Princess before we move on? I do like.
That's a good game. You guys should definitely give it a try.
And I do like the artwork, and I like the.
Like I said, everything drawn. What I remember when I read the description on Steam, I think that's what it said. I can check the Steam description real quick. Oh yeah, it's all voice acted too. Everything's all voice acted. It's everything. So yeah, it's fully voice acted. Hand pencilized art with every background traditionally drawn with pencil and paper.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Damn.
And the voice acting is pretty good too. That's something I get because some visual novels they be having trash voice acting, bro. Voice acting is really good in this. I got to give that to the voice acting. Will keep you definitely intrigued, and it just tells you just enough, and you kind of got to make.
When you get the guy with the British accent, then you got some good voice acting.
Dude, the narrator is good, and the thing is, you don't know who's your ally, who's your enemy, because it's like. The narrator is not necessarily good either. You don't know if the princess is evil. You don't know if the narrator is evil. You don't really know who to trust in this game. But you just got to make a decision and see what happens.
I remember I was listening to. I wanted to read Game of Thrones, but I didn't want to read it because I didn't want to spend time reading. Yeah, so I got the audiobooks, and it's this one guy, is a British guy, who did not the translation, but the readings of it, and his name was Roy Dotrice. In fact, I think he was actually he's an old guy, but he was actually in the show. He played one of the mages who was doing something with the what's that green stuff that they were using to
wildfire.
Yeah, that stuff. But he died, but his narration of those books were so good. You can't beat the British voices, especially for that type of thing, because it has like a medieval type of lore to it. But I remember I'd be drawing, man, I'd be listening to that. They're like, man, this shit is good. Like, he's doing such a good job. The only thing is, like, it took George R. R. Martin so long to come out with the books that when he would narrate other books, sometimes he would forget that he used certain accents for certain characters, and he'd be changing it up. But still, it was still good though. I had to give him credit, man. He was good. Old Roy Dotrice. Let's see if we can look him up. I know he was in the movie or in the show. Roy Dotrice, Game of Thrones. This guy right here. That's him.
You don't see anything.
Oh, I'm on the wrong thing. Oh, I'm not sharing it. I'm sorry. Present. Share screen. Roy Dutrice. This guy right here. Yeah, he was the guy that did the wildfire. All right, let's move on to the next subject, which is, and I have absolutely no interest in this, but you said you wanted to talk about it because you watched the movie, so that's what we'll do.
What are you talking about? You talking about
Mickey 17?
I didn't watch that.
I did.
Not you, Peg Leg Willie down there. Let's see, what's a good trailer to watch?
And always go with the second trailer.
Yeah, this was only 2 minutes long.
On Earth, nothing was working out, and I wanted to get the hell out of there.
You're planning to be an expendable? You read through the paperwork.
Yeah. I should have read through it.
That's it. Make deep breaths, fill your lungs. Imagine there's an unknown virus in the air,
and you're sucking in every single microscopic particle floating around.
All the viruses.
So good?
There really was an unknown virus in the air. Lethal one.
See you tomorrow.
Fellow pioneers, almost every single one of you will be remembered throughout history.
They made me work my ass off, giving me one shitty mission after another.
You're an expendable. You're here to be expended.
Every time I died, they just printed me out again. Everyone asked, what's it feel like to die? The ship was filled with mostly dickheads. But Nasha, she's always loved me. That's when everything changed. Multiple.
In the case of multiples, we exterminate every individual. Which body goes first? One at a time is twice the fun.
You don't look like you're printed out. You're just a person.
It's not your fault. This is a fight to the death.
The simple fact is, we're in a state of war. And our survival is in the balance.
I got a job to do.
Mickey Bonds, fighting right to the end.
My great gift to mankind. Are you afraid to die? This time I wasn't scared.
All right. I'll go first. I think that this just seems so derivative. It just seems uninspiring. I don't like that actor, that particular actor. I still don't get why they got him to play Batman. He just was wrong for the part. But that's not what this is about. It's about Mickey 17. I just think it's like I've seen this movie before. In fact, there's a movie called Moon. Remember the guy from Iron Man 2? He played the villain, Hammer, the Hammer guy. You know what I'm talking about?
Norman Rockwell. Not Norman Rockwell. Sam Rockwell. Sam
Rockwell. Yeah, I'm sorry. Sam Rockwell. He played in a movie called Moon. It's the same exact freaking story. It's basically the same story. Same exact story. You know, he's a clone. He keeps dying. They keep cloning him to fulfill this mission or whatever. It's almost the same exact story. I mean, it's a little different, but it's almost the same. It's like, is there anything creative in Hollywood anymore? I mean, it's derivative. It's just derivative.
Yeah, I've never seen Moon, so
it just doesn't look interesting to me at all. But you saw the movie, so what do you think?
It It's entertaining for my lack of work I was doing. So,
You know, another thing I don't like. I don't like when there's no finality. It cheapens sort of like life, and it cheapens, you know, the adventure when your character is practically immortal. There's some interesting things you could do with immortal characters, and some would say this is one of them. But I don't know. I just find it boring. I find this particular take on it boring. Probably because I've seen it before. I've seen it done in other types of things. You know, and you tell me, does he has to grasp with being a clone? Does he lose something by being cloned all the time? Is there something that he has to struggle with? You know, because I remember in Game of Thrones, even though this isn't a clone, but remember when they keep resurrecting the one guy who has the fire sword?
Beric Dondarrion.
Darian,
He kept on losing a piece of himself.
Yeah, he always loses a little bit of himself every time he gets.
Well,
so there's at least some kind of consequence to it. Whereas, you know, this right here is just, yeah.
Well, the only conflict I saw with him in the clone is the Mickey 17 is a wimp, and the clone that came after him, Mickey 18, is more aggressive and he's more proactive. Like, like there's a scene in the movie, right, when they first find out he was there, like there's two of them, and he says, "Well, I gotta kill you." He says, in the Mickey 17, like, why do you have to kill me? He's like, you know what the rules are. If there's more than one guy, like they're gonna kill all of us, so you gotta go. So he goes throw this man in the incinerator versus having to die. You know, like, all right.
Because the guy just lets him do it.
No, he weasels his way out of it, basically. But I get what you're saying. There's no loss. Only thing he was worried about is losing his girlfriend, not the fact that he was going to lose his life or anything. Like, I'm like, really? Like, they're trying to kill you.
It cheapens it, and that's why I don't like Wolverine as a character. I remember loving him when I was a kid, but as I got older, he's just a cheap character. You know, there's no finality. I mean, you can't kill Wolverine. Don't get me wrong, but the way they write him, they make him practically indestructible. You know,
you know, they're just to touch on the Wolverine thing. There's one comic book I really like Wolverine. It was an Age of Apocalypse comic book, and he had to jump out of a balloon, and there's a balloon burning him, like burning underneath him, and he had to go through the balloon, and his healing factor couldn't keep up with trying to save him.
Mm-hmm.
And he was sitting there thinking the whole time, like, you know, I'm gonna burn up before this saves me. So there's so many things I needed to say to people, but just to agree with you, like he basically came through it unscathed, because at the end of the book, all you see is everything's healing on him. He just really burnt up. I'm like, okay, all that speech was for nothing, huh?
For nothing, yeah. There's no finality. There's no finality. I remember watching the X-Men cartoon from the 90s, and you know, if Wolverine got shot with a bazooka or got really beat up bad by Sabretooth, it'd take him a week to recover. I mean, he would, if any normal person, they would be mortal injuries. But for him, and I mean, he did. So his healing factor,
kill people, bro.
That's what I'm saying. So his healing factor was still, you know, it was still amazing. But you know, there was consequences to being damaged too badly. Yeah, I remember X-Men 3, where like, you know,
was burning away, and it was healing just as fast.
It's like
I'm the only one that can get closer to her. Like,
you got a freaking Phoenix who can like just incinerate things on an atomic level.
That was not Phoenix.
Not Wolverine's healing factor. Yeah, yeah.
Hold on. Let's just first say that was not Phoenix. I don't know what that was, but that was not Phoenix. But the other takeaway from this movie, the one thing I did like is like because the more interesting character was the last clone he had, the 18, because he was like, man, you gotta be proactive. Like, they're gonna kill us, So we got to kill them before they kill us. And everybody's like, no, you can't do it. He's the great leader. And like, the great leader's trying to kill me, so he has to go. Like, I like
so the clones kind of like were like different aspects of his personality, basically.
I can't say that. Those two had two different personalities, but they're the only two clones.
You know what I'm saying? They were kind of like stand-ins for like aspects of his personality. Like some were stronger than others. Sort of like remember that movie? Remember that episode with Raven, and she's in the astral plane.
Yeah, and she had the red and the blue.
Yeah, but they were like different aspects of her personality, but because they were different aspects, they were stronger in those particular ones. They were different colors or whatever.
If I saw more clones, I would say that, but it could have been a defect too. So
yeah,
because I can't base it off of just two, like, because even if you abuse anything long enough, it's going to turn its teeth on you. So it could have been just that clone. Once he saw the shock of him seeing the wimpy version of him, I'm like, no, I'm not going to put myself in this shit. I'm going to fight back. So it could have always been there. It's just the shock of seeing himself brought the real man out of him. Who knows? But he was a beta male in this book, on this story for the most part. I'm like, oh, okay, you soft shit.
That seems to be kind of like the trend in Hollywood when they do male characters these days.
It kind of sucks, bro.
I mean, it's not absolutely true, but it seems that be the kind of like the norm now.
Well, let's look at it. I'll give the movie a 5 out of 10 because it was entertaining for what I was doing at the time. When I watched it again, I wouldn't pay for it. But on another aspect, I agree with you on him not being Batman, but I don't know at this day and age I don't know enough Hollywood actors right now that I would cast as Batman. But they
could have found somebody else. I'm sorry.
But then he's not the main go-to Batman right now either.
What is that sound?
That would be Carbon.
You like banging on the desk?
I'm banging on the desk. What are you talking about?
Or like a bang. It sounded like someone was banging on the desk or something. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm not. I think the movie. I'm not interested in watching it. Now, I'll be honest with you. There's a lot of movies that have been released recently that I don't want to watch. There is one. Let me show you guys this. Matter of fact, we'll watch the trailer for this and we'll end on this. Let's see. YouTube. Matter of fact, this is out now. I was gonna see it. Ash.
Bring the screen back up.
Yeah. I'm still trying to pull this thing up. This thing is acting stupid. All right, it's only about like 1:50 to yeah. Okay, so let me send. It's a movie called Ash. And it's a Lovecraftian sci-fi horror flick.
I already don't like it because Aaron Paul in it. Oh, well, it might be good. Rami Emanuel's in it.
Are you ready?
What do you remember?
Just moments. Images. When I woke up, there is no one left.
I'll say this.
Now, I'm not gonna lie, that seems kind of derivative too, but it's more my.
Oh, it looks interesting. I just
Right.
don't know. It's not doing enough for me to really get into it. Like, I have to see this.
Well, the reason why I want to see is because it's just my. I like Lovecraftian horror, so even if something looks somewhat derivative, I'll check it out just to see if they do something different. Now, I've heard like visually, it's supposed to be a pretty good movie, but maybe conceptually, it's just kind of like it's not horrible, but it's not like the most groundbreaking original thing. But I've heard a lot of good things about it, so I'm probably gonna check it out.
It's like most of my horror movies. I do. You have to tell me about it to watch it. There's what's that one movie that you were just ranting and raving over? It had Sam Neill in it.
Oh, Event Horizon, one of the best. And it's one of the best Lovecraftian horror movies ever made. You mean that movie?
I'm not saying anything against you about it. I'm just
that
saying.
movie. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. It had Lawrence Fishburne in it, right?
Yeah. Fuck this shit. Should attack missiles to this shit.
And then like what other Lovecraftian? There's another Lovecraftian movie I was trying to watch but I couldn't.
It's just something creepy about this scene right here where you go into the engine room and you see this thing lighting up. Just the way it was designed, I just thought it was so creepy. But yeah, go ahead.
There's another Lovecraftian movie I wanted to watch. My only issue with Lovecraftian movies, right, is that's not even the issue. It's just something I want to see. Like they have all these creatures that can like rule the world for the eons, and you never encounter them. They always go into, when you see it, it's either a human going into some different plane and coming back changed, like in Event Horizon, or like on deep, what was that, underwater? You remember how they went to the bottom, and then once they got to the bottom, they woke up. I want to say it was Cthulhu, but
everyone keeps saying how great that movie is. I watched it. It's kind of okay to me. I didn't think it was that. A lot of people like it. I just thought it was okay.
It is okay. It's not nothing like, oh, I have to watch it.
Yeah, but some of the horror reviewers that I watch, they're like, oh, it's one of the best underwater movies. And maybe it is one of the best in a while, but it's just, I don't know. Just to me, it just was kind of like, eh. Want to talk about derivative? Yeah, dude. Some of the ideas I have for Lovecraftian horror, some of them are already written. I'm writing one right now, and I have this one idea, dude, where it's so crazy, and like talk about you will actually see the entities or whatever, but it'd still be mind blowing. It's similar to The Last of Us, where it involves fungus, but that's the only similarity. Some of the ideas I have, though, dude, man, I swear.
You want to know what I like about Stephen King, Stephen King's universe versus Lovecraftian? Like the Stephen King universe, you actually have like a face put with a creature. A lot of Lovecraftian, like I just want to call them mega gods, is the best way I want to describe them. They are basically sleeping gods. Let's put it that way. They don't really have any interaction with what they're affecting. But
that's like not true. They do have interaction. They can affect humanity. It's just the idea behind Lovecraftian horror is that these things are beyond our comprehension, and they don't really even care about us like that. And that's that's what makes it scary, is that they just see us as ants, but they can't affect us. I mean, part of Lovecraftian lore is that people go crazy trying to find these things or understand them. Just reading about it sometimes makes people go crazy. That's
say it for me. Necronomicon. Didn't it start off in
yeah.
H.P. Lovecraft?
Yeah, a lot of modern horror stuff started off with Lovecraft,
and he was a racist,
straight up racist.
He was a beta male racist. That's the crazy thing about it.
A lot of beta males are racist.
This is true. But the I don't really have a horror story. I'm not really a horror guy because nothing really scares me. But I
All
don't.
right.
What was
It's
the name of
almost
that
10,
movie?
it's almost 10 o'clock, so let's wrap this up. Let's give our
Let's
final
let's
thoughts.
final.
We'll start with you, choke leg,
Cricket.
crooked leg, whatever.
Shut up. I just finished the fist. I like the knuckle dusters more than I like the gems on it.
Yeah. It seems to suit his character more.
Yeah. I started redrawing the pants. I might rework these again. I don't know yet. But as for tonight, matter of fact, I did want your Carbon's opinion. I didn't see him show him this earlier.
Oh.
I know you're talking about the Swamp Donkey.
Man,
Man, you always talking about some swamp donkey.
All right, so you gotta hear the you gotta hear the story behind Swamp Donkey to understand Swamp Donkey.
No,
so
we don't need the whole. We don't need the whole story.
You don't need the whole story.
Trust me, I've heard
come on, man. We've heard it. Yeah, come on, man. Get on. Show me drawings.
So
that's a goat. They didn't even know what the world, bro. That's not like no donkey. It looks like a goat.
No, it looks like a donkey, especially when he puts the color on. It looks more like a donkey.
Okay.
But yeah, I like, man.
Put the color on it so he can.
The color's not very good.
No, color was decent. I mean, it gives you a basic understanding of what's going to look like. Oh, it's good. What are you talking about? It's not bad.
That's not bad, yeah.
Yeah.
But like I just can't. That's like part of my character. You know, he has all my characters in my book have a aspect of my personality, and I just can't think of anywhere I could put the Swamp Donkey of insult. And I think of all the years me and G Flux have known each other, I think that's the best insult I've ever laid across one of our friends.
Stupid, dude.
Goddamn Swamp Donkey.
All right, let's move on to Mr. Carvin. What you got, Carvin? What you got for us?
And right now, I'm just trying to work on making the body, but I didn't got the face about done.
Yeah,
that's about it.
Let me see the image. I probably
I have a pure of my things. I don't follow these exactly.
I know, but I would say try to differentiate his nose a little bit from Cloud's. I'd make it a little different. Like it looks a little too broad to me for this particular character. Like zoom into your model again. Yeah.
Yeah, it does the thing.
And it's pointing like upwards. I would have it pointing downwards. But yeah. All right. And last but not least, G Flux the Great, G Flux the Grand, G Flux the Magnificent. Getting close, guys.
The jar, the big booty, and the big bosom.
But yeah, I'm getting close to being done with this, man. Like I said, I got a few more things I got to do some touch-ups on for her clothing, and then once that's done, the other angles shouldn't be hard at all. Since I already know what I have to do. One thing I think is different between what we're doing, Carbon, and what you're doing is that you're practicing your skills, whereas we have to create shit out of thin air. So it does take a little.
You act like I haven't done that before, man.
But you have done it. But which one takes longer?
It takes like longer. You guys have been taking like 2 months.
Yeah, but it's not like. But you acting like this is the only things that we're working on. Or at least I know I'm working on more other stuff.
And I'll come up with ideas and draw it because this.
He's been doing other sketches and drawings too. So it's not like it's the only thing we're working on or whatever. But yeah. But yeah, all right.
I'm just mainly doing that's what my mentor told me to do, man. He told me to practice.
Yeah, no, I get
better.
And we're
not saying you shouldn't do it. We're just saying that what we're doing is different. You know.
And I just gotta say this, man. You know how hard it is to dodge swamp donkeys with a crooked leg.
All right, well, we'll end it there. I'll see you guys next Friday. Make sure you send me your suggestions, things you want to talk about.
So next Friday, what's that date? It is the 28th.
Yeah, should be near the end of the month.
So we just thinking about it, we should have more things. I know Solo Leveling comes out tomorrow, so we can talk about that.
Right, yeah. You need to get caught up on that, Carbon. Matter of fact, Carbon, this week I was going to start that Raid Zero anime you were talking about.
All right, it might not be for you. All
right. And well, Carbon, you're gonna have to get in down with the old school because me and G Flux have been talking about doing throwback week. Hey man, you got to know where you came from to know where you're going.
I don't know about
And they did have the Vampire Hunter D at
40th anniversary
at Azalea. Dang, we missed it. Is it
Yes,
still
we did.
playing?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't see it. That would have been cool. That'd have been cool to do a show on. I mean, we can still do it. It's not like, we could just watch the movies and talk about it. That could be our first retro one.
Okay. But to all my brothers in this great Lucent Troupe world,
I'll make it just much center out. I'll do that instead.
Yeah, that's something we need to touch on though. But that's another thing. Show animation that they should have continued, but they never did. Because Vampire Hunter D could have still been going on to this day. They have enough books.
Yeah, but I would have preferred a series of movies in the same style as Bloodlust. Like if they did like 5 movies over like 10 years or something like that, that would have been freaking awesome, man.
Yeah, because
they could jump back and forth in time, like showing maybe when he was younger, maybe when he's older,
Because there's a lot of lore to it, man. I didn't know he had a brother and everything.
Yeah, he does have a brother, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's that.
All right. I will see you guys next week.
Just end the show.